Hey Valamiddle, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be working with dividing positive and negative fractions. Let's start off with our trivia question here for the day. What was the strongest wind ever recorded? I'll be back with the details on that after our instruction. Tonight, officially our target is I can divide positive and negative fractions. Let's do this thing. Suppose we have to take 2 and divide it by negative 1/4. Or 2 divided by negative quarters. How would you go about doing that? Well, you probably remember that 2, if you divide it by quarters, is actually 8. If you had $2 and you divide it by quarters, it would be 8. And if you think about it, when you have a positive divided by a negative, you know that it's going to be a negative answer too. So you could probably reason that the answer would be negative 8. But let me show you how you work it. Just like dividing regular fractions, when you divide negatives, you multiply by the reciprocal. So here we got the 2 divided by negative 1/4. So we keep the 2, we change the sign, we flip the fraction to the reciprocal. So now you have 2 times negative 4, or negative 4 over 1. You can think about it in multiplying fractions as 2 over 1 times negative 4 over 1. Multiply straight across. You have negative 8 over 1, and there is your negative 8. If you can stay with me on that problem, you will do just fine tonight. Let's take a look at our math word of the day. We have multiplicative inverse and reciprocal. And remember that reciprocals, or the multiplicative inverse, when you take 8 divided by 2 equals 4, the multiplicative inverse is whatever you multiply 2 by in order to get a product of 1. So in this case, 1/4 you would multiply it by 4 over 1. In this case, 2 you'd multiply it by 1/2. Because if you took 2 times 1/2, you'd have 2 over 2, which equals 1. Okay, so there we go, a quick lesson on the multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal. That's what we're going to be doing when we flip a fraction tonight. So in a nutshell, keep, change, flip. Here's the problem here. We've got negative 8 divided by a negative 2. Instead of doing that, we'll just take and multiply negative 8 times a negative 1/2. Just like they did up in this example here. When you do that, you're going to have a negative times a negative. You will have a positive answer. So keep, change, flip, and then watch out for the negatives. Those are your tips for the evening. Let's do some problems here. So we've got negative 3 divided by 3/4. Well, we're going to keep this one. We're going to change the sign. We're going to flip this fraction. So in the next line, I did that. I kept the 3. I just put it over a 1. I changed the sign, and I flipped it to the reciprocal. Now in the next line, I'm just going to multiply. And we know how to multiply. Just go straight across. So 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. We had a negative times a positive, so that is a negative answer. We have a negative 12/3, which really is the equivalent to a negative 4. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. So when we think about it, we have to try to see, does our answer make sense? We have 3 divided by 3/4 equals a negative 4. Well, in my head, I'm saying 3 divided by 1 is 3. So $3, if I divide it by 75 cents, I know that 75 cents plus 75 cents will be $1.50, and I can double that to get to 4. So I'm able to reason my answer through on this one, and that's one of the ways you can check your work. Is your answer reasonable? I'll show you another one on the next slide. Why don't you go ahead and try this one right here. Written down the problem for you. Go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. All right, let's see how you did. Well, did you keep that sign? Keep the first one and keep the negative. So we change this to a negative 6 or negative 6 over 1 times. We change the sign and then we flip this to the reciprocal. Multiply straight across. Negative 6 times 3 is a negative 18. 1 times 1 is 1. So we have a negative 18 over 1, which is a negative 18. Well, I got this funny arrow here. What the heck is he talking about? Well, if this divided by this equals this, then this times this should equal that, right? It's just, 12 divided by 3 equals 4. 4 times 3 equals 12, right? We know these fact families from way back. So if I wish to take 18 and multiply it times 1/3, I'd have 18 over 3, right? Because this would be 18 over 1. So thinking about it, multiplying it backwards, 18 over 3 would be 6, or -6, negative 18 over 3. Okay, so you can check it by, multiplication too. All right. Yeah, but what if it's two fractions, and what if there's two negatives? All right, well, let's just do an example here. So we have -3/4 divided by -1/3. Well, we're going to keep that first fraction just the way it is, so -3/4. We change the sign to multiplication, and then we flip this one from 1/3 to 3 over 1. So multiply straight across just like we normally do. -3 times a -3 gives me a +9. We have a -4 times a -1. That gives me a +4. So I have 9/4. Well, I can reduce 9/4 to 2 1/4. Checking my problem, I'm going to go back to that improper fraction because that's what I had. Forgot to put the negative signs in here. Sorry about that. I'll throw them in quick for you. A little bit tricky, but I can do it. I'm an experienced flipper. All right, so you'd have 9 times 1 would be 9. 9 times, or 4 times 3 would be 12. So if you multiplied backwards here, you'd have 9/12, which is the same as 3/4. You'd actually have a -9/12, which is the same as a -3/4. Okay, time for two more for you to try. Go ahead and pause and give this one a shot. Let's see how you did. Did you keep the first one? Did you change the sign? Did you flip it? Well, if you did, you'll have that. And then we'll go through a little bit further. Now we'll just multiply straight across. 3 times a -8 would be a -24. 4 times a -1 would be a -4. So you have -24/4. And -24/4 is the same as a -6. Let's just check our answer here. We took a -6 times a -1/8, that would be -6/8, which is the same. A negative times a negative here would be a +3/4. Double check, we had a negative, we had a positive divided by a negative, so our answer should be negative. All right, and I'm not doing that just for you, I'm doing that for myself to check my work too, to make sure I did the correct work. Very simple to get tripped up on negatives here. All right, last problem, go ahead. Okie dokie. We have two negatives here, so it looks like we should have a positive answer. So we'll keep that first one at -2/3. We'll change that sign. We'll flip that second one to the reciprocal. So when we multiply straight across there, we would have 4/3. We have a negative times a negative. It's going to give us a +4/3, which is 1 1/3. You could flip it in and check it. Looks like if we were to flip that in, we would have a -4/6, which is the same as a -2/3. All right, here is your ticket to the show. Those two problems, you can go ahead and work on those at home, bring them in tomorrow. -1/2 divided by -1/3, and 5/8 divided by a -1/2. All right, our trivia question. What was the strongest wind ever recorded? It's kind of interesting. Fastest wind not related to tornadoes ever recorded was during the passage of Tropical Cyclone Olivia on April 10th, 1996. A weather station in Barrow Island, Australia, recorded a maximum wind gust of 253 miles per hour. Pretty amazing. When I was researching that, I actually found the old record that was good for nearly 62 years was in Mount Washington, New Hampshire, where the fastest wind gust ever recorded was 231 miles per hour. And this is a pretty impelling story. If you look up Mount Washington record wind or fastest wind, you'll see it, how the observatory staff was out there trying to get this anemometer, I believe it's called, set up so that they could check the wind. And it was just crazy. It was a super hurricane, they called it. Anyway, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you could look it up. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Have a great night.